Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Creations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connect, a dot, an epiphany, a mind-blown moment, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the information's under the video in the description. And if you like any of the artwork that you see, please check out Allylatkreations211.com. You have a whole plethora of my work up there in different tabs, different things, just to see the creations and artwork that I am making. I don't update it about every few days, maybe once a week. So please go check that out. I'm whipping up some really cool stuff right now. Praying it comes out. I have to have sage lit again, because yesterday was a disaster of mass proportions with Blavatsky, and I just had my video freeze. First time that ever took place. So, yeah. And then I bit my lip 2 days ago, doing lifting something very, because, I got the guns, but lifting something very heavy. And I bit down on with my bad part of the teeth, and it punctured a little bit. So, fun times, like having fat lips that don't like to go away, and then reopen. New book alert by my favorite Curtis's. This one is appropriate for this time of now. Again, this was written in 1917. They just updated it in 2014. Yeah, but the philosophy of war. So again, reference to the fact that this was written in 1917. 1917, wink, wink. So I'm very excited to start it. It also seems like to be a kind of a short book. I'm holding out because the Message of Aquaria is a longer book. I want to do short ones with the long one, and then the Veil of Isis is a longer one. So I want to hold off on that. And I think there's like one or two others. Exciting. So this chapter is called Spiritual War or Bulletin. Copy of a letter issued by the Universal Religious Foundation Incorporated, a non-sectarian, non-profit, cooperative, religious, and philanthropic association incorporated for the purpose of promoting better understanding, fellowship, and cooperation among the religious and peoples of the world. And they give their headquarters in this note. And this is probably why it was updated in later times. The letter is dated September 7th, 1939. A spiritual war bulletin. Danzig, not the issue. The war that has now begun in Europe is fundamentally not merely for the possession of Danzig and the quarter. It is not merely to add Poland to the countries which Hitler, not the German people, has seized. It is not merely a war for the destruction of all political, economic, mental, and spiritual freedom and self-determination, which are the basic ideals of the democracies. It is not even merely a war to impose a non-benevolent despotism upon free peoples. It is something far more fundamental and important. My camera's doing that again. So I'm going to put a little tiny pause here because I think it's noteworthy. There are a lot of us who actually have done the research to know what's going on with World War II. We know the truth, and they did not when they wrote this book. And we also know what democracy really means, those of you who watch what I watch and research what you research. So just take what is said here in context to these people didn't have the information, right? They received what they got off the radio and newspapers back then. So does it make what they're writing right or wrong? Just have an open, objective mind to it, because again, it's the times that this was written in. I don't know why this camera keeps doing that. Hang on. I had to get it more. And I don't know what's going on with my camera. It's probably gremlins. I'll keep going. Christianity or atheism, behind all the outer reasons, it is a war for the ultimate destruction of Christianity and the type of civilization which Christianity has built up. It is fundamentally a war between the forces of the Antichrist and those of the Christ, between the forces of darkness, the black forces, and the forces of light, for only by the total destruction of all freedom of religious thought and ideals and complete domination of atheism can dictator despotisms be maintained. No personal neutrality. No matter what nations as a whole may do, once this fundamental truth is understood, there can be no personal neutrality. All honest thinkers must be on the side of religion in some form and spiritual ideals, or on the side of atheistic Bolshevism. Well, no, there's no ick. Despotism and the Antichrist. Prepare to sacrifice. Your first duty, therefore, as a self-respecting free moral agent is to search your mind and heart and determine where you stand. To what kind of civilization are you willing to submit and give your support? Once having chosen the side of spiritual freedom and independence, you must prepare to make any and every sacrifice, personal, mental, financial, as do the communists, to protect, support, and spread the ideals you have chosen through whatever channel or organization you may choose that most appeals to you for the expression of all those ideals. Pity, not hate. Be sure not to hate, but to pity and to pray for the kindly but deceived and misled German people. For it is not they who desire war, but their leaders who are obsessed by the black forces of the Antichrist. So we're in that right now because the deception is like 20 million fold, right? It started with when people didn't, they threw the Constitution and the Articles of Confederation out the window. Emergency orders takes your rights away, unbeknownst to you, and they null and void your contracts you sign with your job because it's an emergency. Oh my goodness. And they can just do whatever they want. I didn't sign up to be in a country that did that. New York, I'm looking at you. So we must recognize, and I hope the rest of the world looks at America in the same light, that maybe 80% of us are on the side of light and don't want any harm to come to anybody around the world, nor do we want our military to be forced to do things that they even know that they shouldn't be doing. And most of them resigned or retired or stepped away because of that very fact. Radiate your strength. You should cast out all fear and remain calm, centers of peace, poise, and radiate confidence, which you will unconsciously broadcast to all you contact. Be strong that others may find strength in your strength and peace in your peace. Rely on the spiritual power of united, concentrated, and consecrated prayer to change the minds and hearts of the German people so that they will refuse to endure the continuation of war. Now, what, unbeknownst to popular belief, each nation and whatever you contracted your soul to be incarnated into has karma, and that is not personal karma, that is collective karma. And unfortunately, depending where you live and where you are around the world, you're a part of that country's karma that you are now trying to break free from. That is something that we are trying to do right now in the collective. We are clearing our old shit out. That's why so much is happening. That's why I did that spiritual soul advice, because there's so much within us, and that might not be from this incarnation. It might be from other incarnations popping out of us right now, and we're making some very not kind choices when we're talking or projecting at people our feelings, because the feelings might not be of your own. It might be from a past life that is now surfacing because you don't no longer need it. So understand, wherever you are in the world, you are, like, I'm a part of the American karma that is playing out right now. Regardless of what my soul is in totality, and it's a bunch of fractals of different things, right? It doesn't matter. In this avatar, in this vehicle, I am in America. And I got to play the karma for America collectively with everybody else here. So the same with your country. So please take note of that. Again, you're not here to be punished. You're here to stand up and to make a wrong a right. And that goes for every country. No matter what you believe or not, there is a lot of wrong in every country. Even the peaceful ones that no one speaks about, I am sure there's corruption somewhere there that needs to be cleared out and dealt with. Right? And even if you, like, I want to go to Iceland very bad, but I know that the lifestyle is not easy. You got to learn their language, which is beautiful, but extremely hard for a dyslexic like myself. And you can't get everything you need there. It's all imported and the prices are retardedly high. So it's, do I want to give up my berries? I don't know. And I'm allergic to a lot of food. So and you need to eat. So I don't know about Iceland, but I'm just saying that's just one example. They got rid of a lot of corruption, but there's still, every country has a fault and multiple faults. But the wording is very interesting. And again, we came here to redeem this timeline. We're merging. Times are merging. And if you listen to Linda Good McGillis, she blows my mind, but everything she says, I'm like taking in and agreeing with. Like 2012 was major. Major. But I'm still researching that for myself. And here's the stage where a lot of us have been in the last 3 years. Loss of morale. The last war was stopped, not by lack of men and munitions, but by the psychological and spiritual power of the millions who were praying for peace, which caused a loss of morale among the German people. And if this war is not suddenly stopped by revolution, cataclysm, or tragedy, it could be stopped by some force, a prayer producing another loss of morale. Pray at noon. We therefore invite all who enlist under the white banner of the Christ to join with us each day at noon or oftener in a prayer for world harmony and a prayer for world peace to help us mobilize the world for peace. For copies of this prayer, please, we will send to anyone upon request. Sincerely yours for peace, harmony, and brotherhood, F. Homer Curtis, MD, President. What's so conflicting in my mind right now is what I listened to this morning as I was busy setting up to paint and getting things poured, and things are not turning out the way I want them, and stress. Good stress, like trying to problem solve things. I was listening to Alexandra Quinn again and Linda Good McGillis. And I found older episodes I never even knew existed. And when I listened back, a lot of it made sense. And what happens if this is the end of the 1,000 years of peace? What happens if we all collectively ask for this? What happens if we are already on the new earth? I'm giving you questions to ask yourself, to go deep within, because 2012 was a huge, major things happened in a snap. Without our realization, cognizantly, we didn't even realize. And the words that are being projected and that were written back in 1917 hold more relevance right now. That's why their books, for me, is so large and so huge that we need to read them. It's because we are repeating something that it comes up collectively in karma, and we have to heal it and clear it. But what happens if this was the 1,000 years of peace? What happens if we are in a reversal? Undoing stuff we already did because we annihilated ourselves, and the future selves came back and are time looping back. So supposedly in 2012, we were, according to Ashiana Dean, put in a failsafe. So we were taken out of where we were on a timeline, and we were shifted and held. Because in that probability, we would have annihilated ourselves. But we were taken out, given lesser who knows what. And now we're going back in time to merge with the past. So we were once here and we are on New Earth already, and now we're merging old to new so that we can neutralize all and any possibilities of annihilating ourselves. And we came back to do that as a mission for all of us, humanity, Earth, the multiverse, everything. And the way she explains it is like mind-blowing, and probably I'm getting probably half of what she just said off, but I go within my own self to figure this out, and something very close. Right. So in the moment of now, there's a lot going on, and the world is a stage, and we hear all these cute anecdotes to things that are either A, really happening, or B, being staged and filmed like a movie. But too many people are wrapped up still in the old paradigm reality. And where the collective goes is what manifests. We need more people to do the work, and this is why a lot of my videos have been all about self-love and self-healing. It's because we need to raise the vibration higher right now, and we're getting the codes to do that. It's making a lot of people sick. It's getting a lot of people are leaving the earth plane. It is as planned. Just know how important these words are from 1917 and forward, because a lot of this stuff is like second and third edition stuff now mixed with the first. Why these books are so important is because we're meeting our past, and not just one past, many multiple pasts. And we got to rewrite those wrongs. And this is the time to do it. So we all need to do the inner work, the spiritual work, because we're being attacked spiritually. I know I am. No matter how much protection I have, doesn't matter. They'll get a way through. We all need it right now. Chapter 2, World Peace. Quote, "To whom shall I speak and give warning, that they may hear? Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it." Jeremiah. Quote, "Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming upon the earth. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." St. Luke. I will pray with the Spirit, and I will pray with understanding. 1 Corinthians. Stability is essential. Once we have a clear realization of the fundamental laws back of world conditions today, then we can decide what is our individual duty in regard to them. All living and growing things require certain basic stabilized conditions for their perfect manifestation. The grain requires the stable conditions of the furrow, and the flower, the garden, the egg, the nest, the babe, the home, the nation, its homeland. as the field for its expression. While activities and changes are necessary within these stabilized conditions, plants need cultivating, eggs need turning, children need training, nations need governing. Nevertheless, a general condition of peace, of uninterrupted constructive activities, is essential for development, maturity, and perfection. Therefore, permanent peace is God's plan for his various manifestations in the world. Hence, it is man's ultimate destiny, man's responsibility. But because man has free will to follow the desires of the flesh and of his own petty personality, instead of working in harmony with God's divine plan, he steps up antagonisms and destructive forces between himself and the God, and between himself and his fellow man. Both personally and nationally, these destructive forces naturally revert to men, their creator, to be adjusted and redeemed, or to be experienced by him personally, perhaps in fist fights or other disastrous conditions and nationality of war. Not the Father's will. The terrible conditions that prevail today are therefore not the Father's will, but are the willful creations of man, the result of his opposition to divine will and his volition of divine law. Furthermore, the unbrotherliness, intolerance, selfishness, greed, and aggression now manifesting are not entirely the creations of the present generation, but are the culmination of all of mankind, which are not worked out through the last World War and otherwise, which must still come up for adjustment. Ding, 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 chicken dinner winner. Like I was saying before, there's a lot of gunk going on right now in the collective. I'm feeling it energetically bad, of things that people have done in prior lives, even myself. I have been a little off the last couple of days emotionally because I have things that I didn't even know that was even part of my story, because I lived a shit ton. And it's coming out of me, it's pouring out, it's saying bye-bye. But when it does that, am I aware in what lifetime did I live that I had to clear that out? No idea. It's not easy to think about that, but I just let it go. I give it love and say, now you need to that emotion needs to flee, because I don't need you. I don't want that. I don't feel good when you're like that. Like the other day, I was being tested. Again, whatever was here trying to throw me off course was trying to get me very agitated, and I did. But then I had to take a couple of breaths and transmute that energy and figure out a way that instead of embarrassing myself and feeling frustrated, I just wrote what I can't pronounce down and put it to the screen so you could see it, and maybe you can help me. I don't know, but I was so flustered yesterday. I had to come back to neutrality. I had to calm down, and then, okay, you can't say it. You can't, your teeth will fly out. Okay, what else can you do? Write it down, show people. They'll get it. And if they can't even pronounce it, okay, you won half the battle right there. Right? These are things that are inside of us. We are not even aware that we're even projecting. And if we are aware of it, like I was yesterday, I don't know where that came from. That's left field. But if something is really attacking me, like you could see my camera keeps shifting, and that does it once in a while, but like today is like animalistic. Why? I don't know. I probably have energy around me that's not kosher for me. Or something's trying to test me. Whatever. Go with the flow. But just know, if you start getting those feelings, those emotions, okay, it might be from this lifetime, but it might be from another lifetime you're not aware of, and you got to get it out of you and you got to release it because it's not serving you anymore. We're catching up we're like rewinding the tape to the past to meet the past in a new timeline. That's why there's a Mandela effect. But when we get back to this point, which we're there almost, we need to transmute the energy, because that past no longer serves us. We just came back because we were taking out of the fold, and now we're coming back to the singularity, if you would say it that way. And if that's what you want to call a flash, if that's what you want to call whatever people are talking about, like we're rewinding back in time to meet 2012 again. But we're doing this again, this war thing, right? Doesn't matter if we're not at war yet. Is it a stage? Is it a movie? Is this to wake people up? Regardless of what it is, the fear and the angst is still in the collective. And we got to let it go. The basic causes. These inharmonies find expression not directly through the masses of the people themselves, but through leaders whose ideals are variance with the laws of God and his divine plan. The basic causes of these conditions, therefore, are first, ignorance of our origin and destiny. We are the aliens. And second, our lack of response to our inner guide guidance. Hello! What have I been saying? God's within you. You are divine. Hi, guys. The lack of response to our inner God guidance. Because everybody watches TikTok and everybody's watching YouTube and everybody's watching everybody else, instead of going to your heart space and saying, okay, what I just received information wise, and go within. Make it make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you and it's some far-fetched carrot that they come watch me next week and I'll give you a little bit more of this dingling carrot. Right. And not to encroach on the spiritual community, but I have a lot of people that I stop watching because when they're talking to their higher selves, I don't know in what form of their higher selves is giving them the answers that some stuff is right, but I feel right, for a collective right. And other stuff is like, okay. Okay, and what timeline are you talking of? The same with remote viewing, the same with a lot of these other people. I'm not saying they're wrong or right, but like that's why I don't do readings for people, right? I'll tell you if I'm picking up on something, but again, time is fluid and things keep moving individually and collectively. Like I said with my medium, like I didn't ask any timeline questions. I did in June because I was like, I need a job. But at this point, what comes of it comes of it. If not, I really gotta kick my own butt, right? But time is always, I'm always shifting my timeline. Always. It's hard. I know I'm going off again, but a book from 1917 just validated me. It feels good. Our turning away from religion, our lack of recognition of our relation to God, and our failure to correlate with and worship him. Okay, those last couple of lines I'm going to just say. I have never found anything in religion to worship because I don't idolatrize anything. I don't stand behind or in front of something to bow down to it. I see sculptures and things I think that are pretty, but I'm not praying to it because that is my connection to source is right here. I don't need anything outside of myself to commune with God, myself, or anything above me. That's all within. I don't need to go to a church, a temple, a mosque. I don't need to go to a Buddhist sanctuary to find the God within. It's in me. I know this. I don't need a book to tell me any of that. None of it. And worship, I'm going to live my life according to the design and the experience that God wants me to express. I signed up for an experience, made a commitment, and had an assignment with Source to do certain things, to be in certain roles for other people. So all of you are in the same boat. I know back then religion was a big thing, but now if you take religion and exit out, and yes, you can have your religion, no one's saying not to, if that's what makes you happy, and that's how you commune and find God within, wonderful. We're all here different and having different experiences. So I just believe that religion has been extremely corrupted in multiple religions, not just one or the three major ones, all of them. And I feel once that gets kind of like taken care of and people can go back to doing them without the corruption and all the other nasty things that happen in religion, you do you, boo. Great. But until then, I'm still doing me, and I'm happy and perfectly fine doing me. So again, and they're coming from a Christian mystic point of view, hence the religion. The Antichrist. This failure of proper religious training and practice is augmented by a deliberate campaign by the forces of the Antichrist to enslave the nations of the world, both by stimulating the ignoble animal passions of selfishness, greed, and national aggrandizement, and by a revolt against all forms of religion and worship of God. The conflict then is not primarily against men and economic and other material conditions, but against the principalities and powers of darkness, which seek to ruin all forms of religion and law and order, and finally all the peace, culture, and beauties that man so evolution from barbarism to civilization has won for him. I can go on and on about all of this, but I'm going to make a little side piece. Your free will choice is to choose between the good and the bad. Again, it's all of source, and this is an experience. And if they weren't bad and they didn't do the bad things, we would not be awake right now to remember what took place. Different paradigm shifts, but almost the same premise. The annihilation of the human race. And apparently, according to Linda, we did that already. Like, we killed ourselves. And now we're back to redeem. And we did it 5 more other times because of Atlantis and other things that has happened to us. So we're here to redeem ourselves. We came back from the future to change the timeline. So we're all time travelers. Congratulations. It's not just Ingersoll Lockwood. All of us. And I pretty much believe that concept because it's making sense. But the universe is about law and order. There's higher dimensionality in physics and mathematics that we are not here conscious of just yet. People are poking the bear, and the bear is giving some roaring back. But there are people now re-examining specific laws and dynamics of the universe that are now changing. Because we're expanding our consciousness. And it's growing, and we're in different dimensionalities, and we're going to find and come up with new stuff because the laws of physics are going to change. Here's the thing. Evil is the same side of the coin as good. It just has a different face. When you walk God's path, and you come to neutrality and understand both sides, yeah, no one wants war. No one wants to die. No one wants any of this, but it's a collective experience that needs to sometimes happen to shift energy. We are now trying to right wrongs. We all have to be the game changers in order for all of us to get to where we need to go. What are you doing to get there? Anti-religious propaganda. Perhaps the most notable instrument to be obsessed by the dark forces was the monk Rasputin. Through him, the evil forces began to inflict and demoralize Russia. But the full fury of the destructive forces found expression through the World War. Yet, since the forces of right, justice, freedom, and independence won the war, so they say, Antichrist had to fall back upon fostering irreligion, thus winning Russia definitely over to anti-religion. They were better for that. And it is that virus that has more or less infected the nations of Europe and has even found some foothold in the Western world. And since no nation can follow the principles of love, tolerance, freedom, and independence of the individual as inculcated by Christianity, and at the same time engage in wars of aggression and national aggrandizement, the fundamental conflict is between Christianity on the one hand and paganism on the other, between the followers of the Christ and those of the Antichrist. I'm going to disagree there. I could tell you right now, I like to follow the Norse. I don't pray to deities. I know there's one source and myself that's involved, but there is energies that I like, that I feel home, like that's my home girl, Freya, right? Doesn't mean that I don't know what I am. Yeshua Melchizedek came to this planet to spread the law of one and ascension mechanics. It doesn't matter what you follow. Doesn't matter what religion you are. Oh, well, Jesus this and Jesus that. Okay, that's been shoved in everybody's face. And that's why a lot of people are like, I'm over this guy. Because they're not really being told. Yeah, you hear the stories and you hear it from one perspective. You're not hearing it from the other perspectives. You're not feeling it within you. You're not feeling the Christic codes that are within you. He's just one portion of a pie that we all make up. We're very much one. That includes Yeshua, Mary, all the disciples, God. Everything encompasses us. We might have different race coding. We might have different lines and tribes that we hail from. But at the crux of it all, we're all one. We're individuated with different types of fractals. That's all, right? Some people have fractals of Yeshua. Some people have fractals of Judas. Some people have John the Baptist. Some people have Mary. Some people have Sophia. Some people have da-da-da-da-da-da, right? You're all components of different things that make you up, but you're not alone in that fractal. There's other people that have fractals just like you do. What makes it different is the Antichrist. And it's not one thing, it's a people, are the ones that chose to lose their Christic spark. They're encoding to the Christ. The Christ is an office. It is the ascension for the human angelics. It's an encoding in your DNA. When your soul comes into incarnation, there are some souls that are not Christic encoded. They are lacking it, and they came here to gain it back. They're going to do the experience with us to make the free will choice if they really want to get their coding back and to be one with source again. They came back to play this game. And many of us came here to help them. And you don't know who they look human, and we don't know who they are, right? But there are people without the Christ encoding in their bodies. They're from other paradigms, other matrices that happen to get caught up here, and they're living, breathing, human. But this is their chance to get their coding back. And depending on what choices they make, they either will or not. They're still a source. They might not acknowledge it, and that's why they lost their encoding. But they're still a source. They're just going to have to get their way back to source differently from us. That's all. Again, no judgment. Remember, we have to have compassion for all, not just who we choose. In the first place, you start with the compassion is yourself. If you don't love yourself, there's chaos around you. You don't give yourself the dignity and respect that you deserve, your outer world is going to look like a bomb hit it. Because you don't care. What to do. What you can do as an individual, the first step is to realize that God's plan is for permanent peace and determine to adjust your personal life to it. For only as you bring your heart and mind and life into harmony with God's plan for peace, can you manifest mental, emotional, and bodily harmony. Among nations, without the expressions of peace and harmony within the individuals of the nations, the first step, therefore, is to establish permanent peace and harmony in your own life. First time I'm reading this. What have I been saying? See, guys, there's no coincidences in this eternal life that we have here. There is zero coincidences. That's what I've been saying recently and for a long time, but more so like pushing it now. We want the change to happen. When is it going to happen? 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 When is this movie ending? When is this movie ending? When is this movie ending? Why isn't it ending? The first step, therefore, is to establish permanent peace and harmony in your own life. It starts at home. This is home. Not in Alpha Centauri, not in Sirius A, not in the Pleiades, not in Orion, not in the Draconian system. This is home. Here in your avatar, this is home. Earth is your home right now. Treat it that way. This is home. Home is not outside of yourself. Yes, this is an avatar. Our soul is occupying it. So is a bunch of different fractals. Great. This is home. And when you start to take care of your home and you start to take the steps to heal your home, to understand the good and the bad, they're the same thing. And you need to walk a neutral path because it's all of God. The bad is of God. And we got to get out of that paradigm. Good and evil, like goodbye. Do you morally live every day with love and authenticity in your heart. Strive to do better each and every day, giving yourself compassion and grace if you have a bad day. Again, we're human. And we're going to have those bad days. And that's just a test to see if you are recognizing it and changing that behavior and that reaction, right? Like I get frustrated and I have a screaming match with myself, but then I ground my energy and like let my emotions come out of me, vent it out into the universe, and then I transmute it and I ground, and I feel so much better for doing it. We do need to vent. Holding things in is not healthy. Holding it inside of yourself is not healthy. But attacking and projecting at others isn't healthy either. It has to be a balance. How you react and how you talk to people is extremely important, especially now. We're getting rid of a lot of things that are coming up within us. And when you start putting a blame and being bitchy and a jerk to other people, because you have an issue with your own self and you're not healing it. Yes, there's always injustice, there's imbalance, and there's a lot of things that we need to put our boundaries up and stand in our convictions. Still, try the best that you can to walk the middle pathway. To go inside yourself and to know the harmony and peace will reside within when you start making the conscious choice to act into those choices. And to have cause and effect, you have to have action and motion. So sitting there and not doing anything to improve your peace and harmony in your life, by not saying I love you in the mirror, by not going and reading affirmation cards, because that's something that's so easy to do. And you can write your own on a piece of paper. It doesn't need to be fancy, and put it on your refrigerator and say it every day. If you're somebody who's on the religious paradigm, pray. There's nothing wrong with prayer, because it's the will and intention of your heart space that matters. It's not, make it your, and this is something the medium told me, right? If you say the Lord's Prayer and there's something there or something within a prayer that you have recited a million times because it's coming out of the book, but something in you wants something to change, the wording around. Change it. Make it unique to you. Not everybody correlates with every component of a prayer or an affirmation, right? All the guided meditations, I change the wording around what fits my situation and fits me. Make it make sense to you. Don't worry about everybody else. Focus on your needs, because that's what needs to happen right now. It's you. Focus on you. Because when you do that and you do the work inside, it's going to reflect to the outside world. Right? We want peace and harmony. We have to start at home in ourselves. That will reflect into our outer home, which is where we are in our physical presence, in our houses. And then it spreads to the community, and then it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. That's where it needs to happen, because it's a frequency, it's a vibration, it's physics. Because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Metaphysics. Next portion is freaking beautiful. Your reaction. If you find this obtainment more difficult now than formerly, if you are more nervous, more irritable, more selfish than usual, when you have eliminated all possible physical causes, then look for a metaphysical cause. Realize that the terrible inharmonies engendered by warring ideologies and warring nations have caused the accumulation of vast clouds of destructive forces, yes, which are broadcast throughout the mental atmosphere, aka gremlins, of all humanity. Hence, every time you give way to anger, intolerance, antagonism, or other destructive emotions, even impatience and irritation, you open the door of your mind and tune in to the black clouds of antagonism generated by the race. If they are thus emitted through even a crack, their antagonism may flow in with ever increasing power until you are swept away into an outburst of passion which you had no intention of expressing. And this way you are personally contributing to the forces which culminate in war. Therefore, watch your reactions and control them. Yes, but sorry guys, I have a cat hair somewhere in my eyeball. We're in a different time where the energy conscious expansion is already happening. Things are already happening. You need to purge what no longer serves you, and you got to get it out. And sometimes that is through yelling, screaming, and being frustrated and irritable, right? But when those emotions do arise, you got to get rid of them, but you transmute it to harmony and peace and love. And that's what I did yesterday. I was so flustered. And of course, there's a lot of people in my personal life that are not doing so well right now. I have some people that are sick that I'm doing focused healing on, and I can't do focused healing on anybody if I don't have the right grounding and mind frame to put healing intentions and wills on people, right? I can't do that work if I'm flustered and irritated and the world is really testing me. So it's my reaction to get rid of that, scream it out, cry it out, get it out, release it, but shield myself and come back into neutrality. Sometimes you need a good cry. Nothing wrong with it. Your responsibility. Since thoughts are things and words are their avenue of expression, spellcasting, every time you talk of or excuse or palliate war, you are adding to the forces of war. And every time you neglect an opportunity to speak for, pray for, and radiate peace, harmony, and love, you had failed in your duty. And what extent are you personally responsible for the continuation of the war spirit? Do you choose to have such a reproach rest upon your conscience? Therefore, every time you feel inharmony arising, instantly check yourself and refuse to respond to it, and counteract it by concentrating on feeling positively radiating peace and love. Instead of responding, smile and say, the banner over me, O God, is peace, harmony, and love. It penetrates me, fills me, radiates from me, and blesses all eye contact. Next step. Having polarized yourself to positive peace radiations, the next step is to do your part to neutralize, counteract, and dissipate the destructive thought forces in the world at large, which make for war, by consciously broadcasting their opposites. Since the world war was stopped not by a lack of men and munitions, but by psychological and spiritual forces, thoughts, and prayers, which caused a loss of morale in the ranks and in the homes of the Central Powers, and which made their call for an armistice imperative, just so can the present war thoughts be neutralized by the same means. And the greatest psychological and spiritual instruments to that end is earnest and understanding prayer, the power of prayer. We therefore earnestly urge all who wish thus to enlist their forces on the side of peace, freedom, and righteousness, to repeat some such prayer, or our prayer for world peace, or our prayer for world harmony, morning, noon, and night, but especially at noon, and spread the ideal as widely as possible, that it is spiritual vibrations may affect and inspire the hearts of all mankind, and particularly the leaders of nations, with its ideals, thus dissolving all thoughts of aggression, domination, and war. Principles, not personalities. Systematically spread the thought that it is wrong principles, ideals, and rules of life that you must combat rather than persons or peoples, however misguided they may seem to you. The masses express largely what they are taught. Therefore, do not condemn any person or nation, nor despise any religion or race. They may sincerely believe what they have been taught is right, no matter how ignorant they are of God's law of permanent peace, or how much they have been misled. Simply envelope all who have and hold negative and inharmonious ideals of domination and aggression, and neutralize all destructive forces with the radiance of divine light, life, and love. Which, hi guys, why should we not be pressing buttons and pointing fingers and this and that one and this one and that one? Yeah, we get it. But here's what we need to stop doing: accusing and pointing fingers, and showing them love and giving them compassion and grace, as if Yeshua was here right now walking on this plane of existence, because he is through all of us. So why do you all preach God and source and Yeshua, Jesus, if you're not walking that path? I'm getting adamantly to all of you to light a fire under some butts. Oh, you're so godly, and you're so biblical, and you're so religious, but you hate with a passion. You're pointing fingers. Well, they ate babies, and they did this, and that happened, and this person, and that war, and this thing, and that thing. I get it. It happened. Right? And it's going to continue to happen until you make the conscious effort to stop giving it energy. I was with all of you. Trust me. Trust me. I didn't understand in totality. This is but how my soul works. I have to go in and get the first layer of learning, and then I get the second layer, which is a little bit deeper, and then I go really deep, and then I go deeper than that. And then when that aha epiphany happens and I understand it, integrate it, and bring it into my being, in essence, then the fireworks from my head start popping off. If you read the Bible and all about and worship Jesus, then why do you hate anyone else? Why are you judging anybody else? Why is there a division in the first place? Why is there... Why? What did he teach? Go back and go reread his life. Not all that was in the Bible. There's other books that have his life story. Go read what he did. Where did he go? What was he preaching? Because I'm going to tell you why. If we are a part of Yeshua, then many of us need to make a hell of a lot of changes and quick to walk his path. We all prop him up on a podium. That's not what he ever wanted. His soul did not want that. He wanted you to understand it, to transcend him. How can you do that if you are in judgment and pointing fingers at everybody? And yes, it is something super hard to change. I'm not perfect, and I'm going through that process right now to make, as soon as I want to place a blame on something besides my own self, I have to start flipping my mind. Mental gymnastics, not easy. But guys, here's how you neutralize things. Stop giving it energy. Stop feeding it. Not to say don't listen to people who are going to teach you what happened and took place. We need to know that. We need to know what not to do moving forward, because apparently we annihilated already. Right? So we got to rewrite our scripts, and we got to learn from the past. But we have to stop placing blame and sectioning and divisioning off things, because that's what they want. Then you're giving that energy to the negative forces. As much love and light that you might all be, whoever is listening to me, and I know I love you, please start going within and harmonizing yourself and understanding that they're all a part of God, and we need to stop with the pointing. And you come into neutrality, and I don't want to see it. And that's why I haven't been really in the chats, because I can't handle that text. I don't want to read it because it makes me sad. Because people that supposedly are way more spiritual and religious than me talk all these beautiful quotes and embody a lot of them too, but yet they're on the bandwagon when you should be walking the middle way path of God. Concentration. As we said in our prayer for world harmony in 1917, the concentration of the minds and hearts of thousands of advanced students in many lands who understand the power and reality of the currents of force generated by thought, aspiration, love, prayer, and the will for righteousness will cause such an outpouring of creative thought force and love force that it will rise like incense into the higher realms and rain down upon the hearts and minds of humanity with such quickening power as to fructify every mind capable of grasping and responding to the ideals which the prayer embodies and vivify them into action. You are an important factor. Damn straight you are. The results must be gained, not by arbitrary being who imposes his will upon helpless humanity, but by your responding to the guidance of his love and compassion within yourself. Within yourself. Hence, there is not a single man, woman, or child who cannot be an active factor in bringing peace on earth. Goodwill toward men, for by understanding the law, you can consciously focus the power of spirit like a blowtorch to melt and dissolve all obstructing conditions. Thus will you become one of his peacemakers. Spiritual fire. Realize that when prayers are thus consciously and understandingly used, they are not mere pious words, but form definite channels through which spiritual fire can be invoked and focused upon humanity. With this God power ever at hand, waiting to be invoked and used, we must not ask God to save humanity while humanity makes no effort, for it is humanity which must save itself by learning to use the powers God has already given it. And the first to use the powers should be all advanced thinkers who can understand the law. And those who realize the power of prayer are responsible to use it. Like the 17th letter of the alphabet, get your popcorn, stop sitting idle. And no one's asking you to get armed and go to war. It's a spiritual battle. Are you projecting the words wisely and usefully into this universe? Are you making that conscious effort? I am. It all starts at home within yourself. Again, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't pray for peace if the peace doesn't exist within yourself. So right now, have grace and give yourself the time you need to release anything that no longer serves you, to bring that harmonious love and light back into your own self so you can pour the prayer cup out onto humanity. Because if you're not at home and in harmony and in peace within your own self, distortion in words. Prayer for world peace. O thou glorious source of all life, light and love, our Lord God Almighty, from whose heart the ray of spirit in each mortal is sprung. Let the realization of our oneness in thee descended upon our hearts as heavenly dew, refreshing our souls. May the love of God and the fellowship of all mankind, without regard to race, creed, or condition, so fill our hearts and minds that each will gladly unite his forces for the attainment of peace, fellowship, and cooperation. May all persons and classes and nations cease their conflicts and unselfishly strive for peace and goodwill, that world peace may speedily be obtained. Let the calm of thy eternal peace, which passeth all intellectual understanding, envelope us with its divine serenity. May it quiet the turmoil of our minds and the conflict of our desires, dissolve our fears, and reveal to us the essential brotherhood of all mankind. Thus shall the power of thy loving spirit bring victory over all opposition to the establishment of thy peace on earth and goodwill among mankind. Amen. Pause after each sentence and meditate upon it. Visualize its radiance going out to envelope all mankind. See the radiance which this prayer invokes, dispelling the dark clouds of inhumanity and war as the sun dispels fog, stimulating the growth of the good in each heart as the sun stimulates the growth of the sprout. When the fog has been dispelled and the sun can perform its constructive work. Thus will you do your part to manifest God's plan for world peace. And just to interestingly note, this ends on page 17. And I'm going to hold off to the next chapter. So again, my goodness, validation. land. If this puts any motivation to listen to the oracle readings that I do and the spiritual soul advices I've been doing the last 2 or 3 of them, I urge all of you to do so. It's tough love on my end, and it's all, most of it channeled from upstairs. As so many people I talk to have expressed that they need to start working on their inner selves to get into peace and harmony with themselves, to get on the right side of life. Even if outside life and the things in and around you are collapsing, it wouldn't be collapsing if you didn't neglect your needs and yourself. Yes, priorities are your family, but the first priority is yourself. Sorry, hate to say that. You can't take care of your kids if you're not having a full cup. World peace can't happen if you're not projecting it out there, and you're waiting for the military, number 45, and a bunch of other people to tell you what's happening in the world, that you're focused on all of that, and scrolling through Telegram and other channels and focusing on what is wrong with the world. And yes, we all want peace and we want things to be done safely and securely, but are you ever focusing on doing that work that you neglect to do on yourself? Because that's really the game changer in this spiritual war. They said it's biblical, right? And if it is so, that starts at home within you, because you are a spark of God. You have a fractal of God. You have a fractal of Yeshua. You have a fractal of so many other things that make up this universe in totality. You got to start here in your heart space, to love thyself, to know thyself, to walk in that empowerment, to be the I am. Because in technicality, it's oneness, and we are. It's all of us. We're individuated for a purpose. And when you have a better acknowledgement of the oneness that happens, that everything is a part of you and you are a part of it, and they're just playing different roles and different experiences that you're not, but it's still you. It's huge. This war is spiritual. It starts at home. You're part of this war. Which side are you on? I choose the light. I'm doing the work. When I find, like yesterday, that was rough. But you know what? After I sat and meditated and cleared my energy, I put some sage, I lit a candle, and I calmed myself down, and I got rid of it, and I transmuted that energy, and I'm way better today. Even though there's things testing me, right? There are things here that are testing me, but that's okay, because if something breaches my shield and they're annoying me, I'll just transmute it. I'll make the conscious choice. I'm going to leave like the other books. If you go to their website, you'll find this book, The Philosophy of War, and you can download it for free. It's a PDF. Go get this. This is a beautiful prayer, and I would recite that every day. I'm probably going to print it out for myself if I can get the copy and click thing to work on this computer. So, be the change, transcend, find yourself, find the love in yourself, And if you don't love yourself, ask yourself why. If things are going completely wrong, I've been there. What will it make in your environment to make things better? If things are chaotic around you, that means there's unsettledness inside of you. What is unsettled? This is the work that we need to do on ourselves. You have to ask the questions. Again, everybody says, go pray to God. Okay, yeah, that works, but you are a portion of God. So asking yourself questions. Okay, why do I feel this way? What is around me? What's going on? What haven't I healed yet? None of us had a flawless life. None of the people that we signed up to have this experience with had perfect lives. Someone somewhere down the road said some obscene shit to you that you're carrying still and not even probably aware of it. Okay? Some of us had accidents, some of us have illnesses, whatever it is. There's things within you that need to come out and be healed and dealt with, right? You don't have to accept it. Okay, there are horrific things people had to go through. No one's asking you to relive it. You acknowledge that it exists. And now I'm giving you love. I'm sorry to myself. I'm sorry to that person that did that thing to me because they know not. And it's not a part of my life anymore. Goodbye, adios, get it rid of, transmute it, give it to the tree. Give yourself some love. Okay? Whatever it is. We need to have compassion for ourselves, and we have to have grace with ourselves. It's big. But they're reinforcing everything I've been saying. Okay, there's a few things that I would reword in their prayers, and but that's different. That's okay. Again, this is written in 1917. Okay, times have changed. So again, if you like that prayer, I will try to copy and paste it and maybe put it in the comment section, or you can get the PDF and find it. It's on page 17, 1617. I'm going to post it on my Telegram channel. All the links for that is on the bottom. But say something similar to those words, because that is very powerful, and I agree with that. And I feel completely like that's something we can do every day. Just talking and willing it and imagining it into existence. Again, they said it's a spiritual war. So we need to get our spiritual vibratory states up in frequency to beat the side of the polarity that no longer serves us. We got to get rid of that side. We're done with it. We lived it too long. It's a part of God. Guess what? We got free will choice, and we get to choose which side we're on. And whatever side we're on, we're going to fight for tooth and nail. And let's fight tooth and nail the right way and spiritually, instead of sitting back waiting for things to happen to us, for us, and outside of us, when we can start doing the work within to win this war. And I know many of you understand that. So sending each and every one of you love, light, peace, harmony, protection, and shielding. Please have a rest of your good week. I'll see many people tomorrow early in the morning on We Not Me, 12 p.m. Eastern, but I put the show up so people can have a coffee and some breakfast and a chit chat. So if you happen to want to say hi, come on in. I have a lot to do tomorrow, a lot, but I'm going to try my best to keep in the chat in the early morning. So come and join We Not Me on Rumble. I'll be there. Don't be square. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Until then, be safe, be seen, and speak some positive words into existence.